Hey, welcome to this week's episode, and we're going to show you a few more tips and tricks to help you get out there and chase your dream. We're going to show you some RV checklists this week that will hopefully make your camping so much easier. So let's get started. So you can find this week's resource on our website, chasingourdream.com. If you'll go to our most recent blog post about RV checklists, you can click on it. Then once it comes open, go ahead and scroll down to the new checklist resource download. It's a PDF that if you'll click on it, you can actually download that checklist for yourself. We break down the document into the following checklists. The first one is leaving your storage unit for your campsite. The second one is your RV campsite setup checklist. And then the last one is the RV campsite teardown checklist. And finally, how to return your unit back to storage. We've also added a permanent link on our homepage where you can actually check out this resource anytime that you like it. This is all free and something for you. Let's go over the checklist in detail. Leaving storage unit for campsite. You'll notice that on each checklist we begin with, remember to take your time. Rushing through these tasks equals mistakes, and mistakes can be costly. Getting ready to leave the storage for campsite begins with some simple tasks, including batteries, so Terry can see inside. And while I'm close, I always verify that the propane is off before we travel. I unlock the doors so Terry can do the inside prep, and while she's doing that, I connect the trailer to the truck. I also check all the tires this time to make sure we have the right pressure. So I'm close to power outlet for my air pump, and that makes it a little easier to get everything checked. Inside, Terry verifies that all the 12-volt electrical works, especially the lights, the refrigerator, and so forth. We usually turn on the refrigerator freezer about 24 hours in advance of our trip. So Terry, while she's in there, checks the thermometers that we've placed inside to make sure we have the correct temperatures and that everything's working okay. And we do this before we put food inside. We make sure that all the water faucets are off, and she checks for security of all movable items. Then she locks the doors for travel. Once all our tools are stored, we prep the tow vehicle and make sure that the TPMS and the backup camera works. I pull Abby out of storage with Terry behind, making sure I have clearance all around. Terry helps me test the brakes and all the other lights while we're outside. And then we do one last walk around while Terry locks the storage unit door. We test the brakes and the brake controller, and then we pray because we know we need God's help always. Now, what's not on this checklist, but we'll let you know what we do is that we actually take our camper from the storage unit to our house in order to load up our clothes and our food inside Abby. It's just so much more convenient. We also add water from our outside spigot, and then we get on the road. Let's take a look at the next checklist. So now we'll do the campsite setup checklist. Now you'll know that we say always remember to take your time. When we arrive, we always park near the site, get out of the tow vehicle, and make sure that where we're going to park gives us enough space to reach the water, sewer, and electrical. We also make sure that the slides have clearance and there are no trees or other things around. And then I loosen the hitch. It makes it a lot easier to back in. Terry gets out and helps me, and using our cell phones, she directs me into the perfect place on the site. Now before I disconnect, I use our little manual level and make sure that we're level left to right. And if I need to put on the leveling blocks, I do that. But once we're all set, I put in the chocks, the tire chocks. We disconnect Abby from the truck, and I stow the hitch and the sway bars inside Abby's storage area. I then level the camper from front to back with the jack. I connect the electrical to deploy the slides, makes it a lot easier. I connect the potable water and all the gadgets that go along with that, and then I turn on the propane. I then double check to make sure that the black tank valve is closed, and then I connect the black tank hose and put it on its stand. I then go out and set up the rig, the chairs, our little outside rug. Then I go inside, and while I'm putting some water in the toilet and in the bathroom sink, Terry extends the awning and does some other things to get set up. She also loosens up the chairs and everything. And then finally, we both take a deep breath, we grab our favorite beverage, we go outside and have a seat with the Doxies, and we enjoy our new campsite. So now we go to the campsite teardown checklist. Outside, I begin by checking the tire pressure on the RV tires, the tow vehicle tires, and the suspension airbags. I then add potable water to the potable water tank for the trip, that is if it's needed. After I make sure that everyone has finished their bathroom duties, I connect the black tank flush hose to its connector outside, and then I empty the black tank. I then turn on the water to the flush and then flush out the black tank until all the water coming out is clear. Next, I empty the gray tank. After I have completed that, I stow all the sewer hoses and equipment and wash my hands. I then turn off the propane so Terry can turn on the stove and light it and burn out the excess propane for travel. I then disconnect the potable water hose and all of the equipment attached to it and stow it inside Abby. Inside, Terry stows all the movable stuff, including the chairs and the TV, and all the loose items are stowed in each room. Terry then retracts the slide. We turn off the AC circuit breaker and check that the refrigerator is still working. Outside, I disconnect the power cord and stow all the electrical items. I then raise the stabilizer jacks, and then I connect the hitch to the truck and Abby to the tow vehicle. I remove the chocks, stow the steps, and return all the tools to storage. We then lock the doors and do one last walk around. We check the backup camera and the TPMS inside the truck, and Terry stays outside and helps me pull the RV out of the site, and we check all the lights. We then get in the truck together, we check the brakes and the brake controller, and of course we pray. Then we head back to our storage facility. And now for our return to storage checklist. Now on our way back to the storage unit, we always stop at a truck wash and get Abby washed, so she goes back in nice and clean. We also stop by our house and unload the Doxies, of course, and then we take out any leftover food and of course our clothes, and that way we were able to return Abby back fully empty. When we do arrive at the storage unit, we begin with this reminder: remember to take your time. So outside the unit, before we put her in, we walk around the tow vehicle and Abby and ensure that there was no road damage. I then loosen up the sway hitch to make it easier. Terry gets out of the truck and goes and unlocks the storage unit and raises the door, and then she stands behind the unit and helps guide me into the storage unit. I then secure the RV with chocks once it's inside, and I make sure that we can open up the back door and lower the stairs so we can actually access Abby. Then Terry goes inside and verifies that all the items are stored and secure and nothing's moved. She makes sure that all the electrical equipment is off and all the faucets are off, and she makes sure that the refrigerator and refrigerator doors are open to avoid us having any mold grow. Back outside, I remove the battery covers, disconnect the battery wires, and attach the trickle chargers. We do one more walk around outside to make sure that everything's secure. I remove the truck extension mirrors and the hitch, and I place those in storage. I then get in the truck and shut off the TPMS and the backup camera, and then we stow it. We lock the storage unit, and then Terry and I enjoy the memories of yet one more awesome camping trip. Well, that's this week's episode, and we hope that it was helpful to you. The RV checklist is available on our website, chasingourdream.com. If you find it to be helpful for you, please let us know. If you have suggestions that we can use to make it better, please email us at eric@chasingourdream.com. We sure do appreciate you and thank you for following our adventures. Please subscribe to our channel, and if you like today's video, smash that like button. We will see you again in 2 weeks with another video that we hope will help you get out there and chase your dream.